The legislation committee will now come to order. Madam Clerk, please call the roll.
Are you serious?
Alderman Kennedy. Here. Alderman Conway. Alderman Boyd.
Present.
Alderman Arnowitz. Alderwoman Hubbard. Alderwoman Howard. Alderwoman Murphy. Here. Alderman Ogilvy.
Here.
Chairman Vaccaro. Present. 5 present. You have a quorum.
Okay. One bill on the agenda today, Board Bill 35. Alderman Vaccaro, please proceed.
Thank you, Mr. Vice Chair. This, if you've been following it, and we've made a few changes, has to do with if you're a victim of a crime, that you get towed to the tow lot, and you would get charged $100 for the tow fee plus $25 a day. This basically eliminates that. Originally, I had put the 72 hours, which is in here. The big change, there's actually a couple changes. If you go to page 2, line 8, it was a Scribner's error. It should have said 64668 for the ordinance, and somehow it had the wrong ordinance in it. So that,
Should we, I'll entertain a motion to adopt, to discuss the committee sub to Board Bill 35.
I'm sorry.
You said you so moved. You said you're entertaining that.
And then we have a second to discuss.
Just to discuss.
Second. Okay.
Madam Clerk, please call the roll.
Alderman Kennedy. Aye. Alderman Conway. Alderman Boyd.
Aye.
Alderman Arnowitz. Alderwoman Hubbard. Alderwoman Howard. Alderwoman Murphy. Alderman Ogilvy.
Aye.
Chairman Vaccaro.
aye.
5 aye votes.
Okay, so before us now is Board Bill 35 committee substitute.
So on page 2, line 8, when Nolan did the bill, I don't know if he cited the wrong ordinance, or I'm calling the Scribner's error, we can call it either way. That should say, section 1 ordinance, it should say 64668 for the ordinance. And that's the only one that would be a Scribner's error. I did have a red-lined item which Terrence is looking for, but it seems that maybe he might have shredded it. The big change in this, let's see. So the big change is that section 5. Originally, my bill, when I first did it, said 72 hours. The street department asked that we would make it, add this section, which basically says that you need to come within business hours, excludes holidays and Sundays, and you have to have an ID to prove you own the car. And that's the big change to the bill. Other than that, what this does is allow someone that's a victim of a crime, whether that crime is a rape and you were taken to the hospital and somehow your car was towed, or maybe it was a car chase, something, but not, not just if your car was carjacked or stolen, but if you're a victim of a crime, this allows you 3 days, basically, to come within working hours to get your car back at no cost at all. And the street department's on board with it, but certainly, if you want to call up Kent, he's here.
Sure. Can Mr. Flake come to the microphone? Thanks for being here.
Thank you.
Can you maybe just briefly describe our current process and then the changes contained within the bill?
The current process is stolen vehicles. This other victims of crime, I don't know, is actually in this board bill. When we get a car that's stolen, the police handle it from the originally seeing it on the scene, typically either an inspector or the police find his car stolen. It's reported to Metropolitan Police, and then they come out and they log into their system as stolen, and then we tow it 7410 Hall Street. Once the police are on the scene of that vehicle, they call the registered owner, because it's part of the DMV database, and they let them know that we do have your car. Typically, the police will give them a half hour if they want to come get it then. It's assuming it wasn't part of an actual crime and it was just stolen. And then they'll wait for a half hour to an hour. And then our city tow will come pick that car up, take it to 7410 Hall. At that point, the $100 tow fee and $25 a day storage starts happening. In the past, we have worked with the storage because we know if you end up coming up to the tow lot and pick the car up within an hour because you couldn't make it in a half hour to wherever the police found your car, we understand that's a inconvenience, and it's very hard for a lot of people, depending on where they find your car at, to get off work, get across town and pick up your car. So we've in-house have kind of dealt with that $25. We have never waived the $100 tow because we still got to pick the car up. Sometimes we got to pick the car up multiple times if it was involved in criminal activity, because we pick it up at the scene, then we take it down to the police garage where they have to investigate it for whatever. It's usually put on numerous holds by the police so they can fingerprint and do everything else they need. And then it goes eventually to the tow lot. But long story short, this bill would get rid of that towing fee and the $25 a day storage for the first 72 hours.
Okay, we can take questions from the committee. Alderman Kennedy. Alderman Boyd.
Sure. I have a question of the sponsor on, I'm just looking at the committee substitute. I'm still trying to find the difference. You said something about a scrivener's error on the ordinance
So-
number, but
so
it looks
on-
like the exact bill.
No, okay, you know what, because you may not have the right,
So,
you may not have the committee sub in front of you.
let me just interject. What's the actual ordinance number that it should say?
Well, it should say 64668.
64668, okay.
But
I make a motion that on page 2, line 8, we amend the committee substitute to say ordinance 64668.
668.
It does.
Jeff,
Okay.
you may not have the right copy in front of you.
So we've got a motion and a second to amend Board Bill 35 committee substitute on line 8. Madam Clerk, please call the roll.
Previous roll.
There's been a request for previous roll and an objection.
Alderman Kennedy. Alderman Conway. Alderman Boyd.
Aye.
Alderman Arnowitz. Alderwoman Hubbard. Alderwoman Howard. Alderwoman Murphy. Alderman Ogilvy.
Aye.
Chairman Vaccaro.
Aye.
6 aye votes.
Okay, so before us now is Board Bill 35 committee substitute as amended. We can go back to questions. Alderman Boyd?
No, thank you. I appreciate the bill. I think it's a great help. I've had family members that have had that issue and been a victim twice. It's certainly unfair, so I appreciate you sponsoring the bill. I'd like to be a co-sponsor.
Thank you, I appreciate that.
No further questions or comments.
Thank you. Terry
Alderman
Kennedy.
Arnowitz, any questions? Alderman Murphy?
No, you said that the towing is on board with this? You're okay?
That's correct.
Okay, but the city actually is eating the toll.
The city stands to lose, I believe, is a little over $30,000 that they would make, but I honestly believe we should not be, as well as this, I commend the street department, because although we always look for money, we don't need to victimize the victims.
Second time, right. No more questions.
Any other questions from committee members? Well, this will save me some money because I've paid this fee for a few constituents in the past. So,
If anybody else would like to be a
yeah,
co-sponsor,
please add me as a co-sponsor. Thank you.
and Beth Murphy would like to be, Larry, you want to be a co-sponsor? And Larry, so,
So it sounds like we charge this fee about 300 times a year if there's $30,000 in revenue.
Or was it I'm sorry, it could have been 300. I'm sorry, it was, my brain's not working. It's 300, it's a little over 300,000.
Oh, 300,
300,000.
just on stolen vehicles or on all?
No, just, that's what, the fiscal note for this would suggest that the cost would be roughly $300,000. Because I did do the fiscal note. So the fiscal note would reflect that, you know, but either way, and again, they waive a lot of it any times anyway, but if your car gets stolen, I still strongly believe you shouldn't be charged. And a couple of the stories I can tell you with it, where people, one guy who works 2 minimum wage jobs had to borrow money. A lot of people either lose their cars or go to a payday loan company because they don't have the $200 or $300 it takes to get their car back.
Right. Mr. Flake, I just want to go through that $300,000 figure since the fiscal note's not in front of us. Can you break that down?
Yeah, it's worst case scenario, assuming everybody picked up every stolen car within 72 hours is $325,000. The couple big notes in here, in the actual board bill, and this involves a lot of these vehicles, is first of all, your car has to be reported stolen prior to it being towed. A lot of people get their vehicles booted, and they come home from work, and it's been towed, and they report it stolen. That's not going to be covered by this. Most people who have comprehensive insurance, the insurance company is not going to come in and do anything in 72 hours. I think we've all dealt with insurance companies. It's very rare for an insurance company to come out, especially if there's damage to the car, evaluate that and have that done in 72 hours. Essentially what this bill does is it covers the people that are already doing the right thing, and the ones that don't have another way out. And the other thing is, as we've seen with temp tags and everything else in the city of St. Louis, is the car has to be registered to you. Most of these cars aren't, or not most of them, a lot of these cars aren't registered to the person who's currently driving that vehicle. And that's a whole nother problem we have, that these vehicles aren't registered, but it's a $325,000 is what the worst case scenario is. I believe it's going to be between 30 and 50,000.
Okay.
A legitimate number.
But that 325, that is just the category that is vehicles that are stolen or reported stolen, or is that a bigger category of other types of towing for other reasons?
That would just be stolen vehicles.
Okay.
Because we're closer, I think it's mentioned on page 1. It's page 1, line 5. We also have a very different opinion between us and the police department on the number of vehicles that were stolen. We claim through our reports it's about 1,600. Police
Okay.
claim it's 761. I know for the last month, the month of May, we had 130. And you play that out over 12 months, it's a lot closer to 1,600. But it also comes down to how records are kept, and police individualize things a lot. That stolen in this manner or stolen in that manner, they're going to separate those out. And I'm not sure where they came up with the 761.
Okay, so if you have comprehensive insurance, the vehicle is stolen, you report it's stolen, it's towed after it's found, we believe it may stay at the tow lot for a little while until the insurance, and then the insurance will pay the city if it's been there for more than 72 hours.
That's correct.
Okay. Looks like Alderman Arnowitz has a question.
So the vehicle is stolen, if it's not properly registered, or the tags have run out and everything else, it's not covered under this?
It would be covered if they can get their registration figured out in 72 hours. It's very unlikely.
Okay, that's what I wanted to make sure. I mean, I understand you try to correct things, but when people's when anyone's driving and they haven't registered their car, it's got a temp tag expired 4 months before that, you know. So, okay, so they got 72 hours to get it all straightened out.
Yeah, and,
Excluding holidays and Sundays.
yeah.
Okay. All right, thank you.
Okay, any more questions from committee members? Okay,
Apologize, but, because the 30,000 was in my mind, because when we had talked, the actual reality was somewhere between 30 and 50, but the fiscal note had to reflect the worst-case scenario, and so it does.
okay, I make a motion that we pass out Board Bill 35, committee substitute as amended with a due pass recommendation. There's been a request for previous roll. Any objections? Okay, Board Bill 35, committee sub as amended is passed. I make a motion, we adjourn.
Thank you. Thank
All
you,
in favor?
everybody.
Okay, legislation committee is adjourned. Thank you.